today's topic is the current and future state of MMA and combat sports. So let's just jump right in with a whopper of a question. Have
Yeah.
we reached peak MMA?
Um, Very, very close, I would think. I mean, the thing what we're seeing now is like you can go on your Instagram and you can see kids like 7 years old that are like wrestling phenoms and jujitsu phenoms that could surely like are going to become superstars of the future. And you didn't see that before. So I think we're nearing it as those kids mature. You know what I mean? Like MMA now isn't just something that you see like on an illegal VHS tape back in the
Yeah.
day. You know what I mean? Like now it's everywhere. It's on ESPN. It's on pay per view. It's on everywhere, right? So I think it as it becomes more ingrained into culture, it becomes something that kids are training at an earlier age. You know, and it becomes not so much of a blood sport as it is just a sport. You know what I mean? Like there's a
Hmm.
lot of people now understanding. And when you look at a lot of the stars today, you know, they're not like the thugs of UFC one time. You know what I mean? They're not like these like monsters that you would walk across the street from. These are just like normal everyday guys, you know? So I think that that's definitely put it into the mainstream. And I think we're definitely reaching the golden age. Like, I don't know how much better it could get from an athletic standpoint is what I mean. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Production value and marketing and stuff like that, that always has room to grow. But in terms of like the actual athletic ability and where the peak human physical ability to compete in mixed martial arts, I think yeah, we're very very close, man.
And I remember, the early days of the sport where it was basically, I mean, it sounds harsh to say, but it was kind of like human cockfighting, right? There was like no
Yeah,
weight classes. It was bare knuckle. It was kind of cartoonish. It was underground, like you said, illegal VHS tapes.
yeah,
It was like alongside, you go to like bumfights.com and you'd
yeah,
find
yeah, yeah,
MMA
yeah.
and combat sports and stuff. And it's crazy to me to see the growth of the sport. And I mean, how long have you been invested in combat sports? Were you like an early adopter or a little bit later to the game?
I mean, dude, I was at my friend John Borromeo. We were at his cousin's house who had an illegal black box. I think the statute of limitations is now gone. You can't like arrest them anymore, but they had that illegal black box and we watched UFC 1 and we were like, "What the
Oh,
heck
wow.
is this?" You know what I mean?
Was that like
So
early 90s,
yeah,
mid
something
90s?
like that, like yeah, I'm really old. But we had like, so back then like I was a fan of it like cuz you see it. But I think growing up, I think much like everyone, it was when the Ultimate Fighter season one came out, right, with Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner and that reality show that really relaunched UFC into the mainstream. That's when I became like really hardcore into it. So that was the season that I think brought a lot of people on board.
I think it added like the personalities to the sport, whereas before it was just two
Yeah.
guys you don't really know beating up on each other in an
Yep.
octagon. But the I feel like it's kind of like the F1 series, the Drive to Survive, which has made F1
Yeah.
way more popular than it ever has been, just
Yep.
by adding color to it, adding background, adding personality. So
That's
you
right.
become a little more invested in the sport and in the guys. So I mean, we talk about MMA and combat sports, and I think people use UFC as a brand name, right? It's like Band Aid or Kleenex, something like that, when there's a lot of other organizations. So,
Yeah.
how can organizations like the PFL and Bellator, how can they compete with the brand name of UFC? And it's a two-part question: is what has UFC done to differentiate themselves from these other organizations?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think UFC was the first. It wasn't the first, but like it was the first in Western America or in the West that really took off. You know what I mean? I think they did the right thing by doing that reality show, like you said, right? This isn't an age like for your listeners. This was in an age of no social media, so there's none of that. So imagine just watching, people nowadays wouldn't even be able to imagine just watching sports and having no idea who the people are outside of like watching them compete. But that Ultimate Fighter reality show gave you a sense of who they were and stuff like that. So you started to grow and notice them. Ultimate Fighter did that, or sorry, UFC did that through their show, right? So that's what I think started getting them. And I think they've just done a good job of attracting the top talent And I mean top talent in the cage, outside of the cage, in the production, in the commentators, in the cameramen, everything. It's top notch. You know what I mean? From the cut people to the referees, right? They make sure that their product is prime. What can PFL and Bellator, or they're synonymous now because PFL bought Bellator, but what can any organization like ONE FC out in Asia, what can they do? uh, if you ask me, nothing. And actually, we predicted on our show that we think ONE FC is going to go bankrupt this year, and because there's talks about their funding is lacking, or that their investors might start to pull out. PFL invested, I don't know how much Saudi money they got. Dude, nobody is watching their stuff. Like, as a
Wow.
content creator, and what I'm putting out there, when I put out stuff with Bellator and PFL and ONE FC, and I have their fighters on my show and stuff like that. But boy, oh boy, I can notice it myself. Like, just the fan reaction and stuff like that when it's a non UFC person, it's tough, man. And I think that those organizations are going to have a hard time, because if you're striving to become number one, I almost feel like it's too insurmountable right now. Like, I don't know that you can do it. Is anyone ever going to beat Kleenex or Q-tips? I don't think so. Like,
True.
that's it. You've dominated. Is there ever going to be another NFL or NBA? No. Like, that's it. And I don't know what these other leagues need to do to at least stay afloat, because it's very important for these leagues to be there, because it's a place for people to earn a living, right? Like, it's a place for these fighters to earn a living and make money and stuff like that. And also, it's a feeder system into UFC. As much as those guys don't want to be feeder systems, it kind of is, right? We've
Hmm.
recently seen Michael Venom Page or Justin Gaethje, or other guys make that transition into the league and do well. So I don't know, man. I don't think that.
Yeah.
I don't think that anyone's ever going to beat them. I mean, UFC would have to do something catastrophic to fumble the ball this badly that they would drop. It's just not going to happen.
Hmm. It helps definitely that they have, of course, the brand name, the name recognition. They have the deal with ESPN, so it's tied
Yeah,
into ESPN Plus, which a lot of people already buy for niche sports
yeah,
or just cable cutters. At least in the U.S., I believe in Canada they're with DAZN. I think they have their streaming deal
dude, I don't
for
even know
UFC. I
what
mean,
that
is that right?
is. What,
No.
UFC? I don't even know what
Yeah.
DAZN is or what that is. Is that in Canada? I don't even know. The way I get my UFC is that, like, it's on TV, or I have Fight Pass. So I
Okay.
think you guys don't have Fight Pass anymore. I think ESPN Plus kind of took that over. Is
Hmm.
that right? So,
Yeah,
but
I want to say Fight Pass is the international, basically
yeah,
just
so
UFC dedicated.
yeah,
Okay.
so we have that. I have Fight Pass. I've been a subscriber in Fight Pass since, like, almost day one. Man, they mailed me a free Google Chromecast when I signed up. That's how old it
Oh
was. Like,
wow,
I got a free Chromecast when I signed up. Yeah, so Fight Pass is the
that's
way to go.
awesome.
Yeah, it's just the branding, everything. I'm wearing a UFC watch, for God's sakes. Like, the Timex watches, they're really nice, man.
Hmm.
But yeah, like, what do you? I got my pop figures, my glove. Like, yeah, they're just everywhere.
Yeah,
Um,
and they've got the gyms, they've got the other stuff. I mean, like I feel like you may have kind of already answered this question, but maybe there's another way to look at it. But I mean, Bellator just signed a huge deal with Max, the
yeah, I saw. Yeah,
distributor, and their first event wasn't even a pay per view; it was free for Max subscribers. People already pay for that service, and I believe it's in like 90 or 100 million homes, at least in the U.S. So I
yeah.
think my original question is, can they steal some of the spotlight from the UFC? I think that's a no. But is that kind of niche streaming packages at least another way to grow the sport? And do you think that was a good move by Bellator?
No, I think, because it was funny when PFL bought them. The owner, Don Davis, he was on Ariel Helwani's show. Which, frickin' Don Davis, get on my podcast, you son of a bitch. We've been calling you out for so long. Stop only going on Ariel. Get on my show, man. Uh, Don Davis went on and he talked about how they weren't, they had bought PFL had bought Bellator, but we're not sure where the broadcast rights are going to go. Blah blah. Right from then, I was saying to everybody on my show, I said, then they're not going to ESPN, because he would want to say, hey, they're going to come to ESPN too, right? As well as PFL, because PFL is as well.
Hmm.
Going to another service, like what the hell is this provider? What is it called? Max? What is that? Like, do
Max.
I have to pay for
It's
that?
HBO Max. So HBO Max is now they merged with it's like Warner
Oh,
Brothers and one other one. It's the one that has Game of Thrones and Sopranos
okay,
and
okay, okay.
what
I
other
didn't
big
even know
shows.
that.
So
Oh,
well, there you
Max
go.
is HBO Max? All right. I didn't
Yeah,
know that. Look, the minute you put it on, well, I don't know. See, HBO Max isn't crazy here in Canada. Like I know it is in the US. Um, all I'll say is that I don't know that it matters where you are on your publishing. It still matters how much social media branding that you do and the quality of the product you put out. I think, because ONE FC in Asia, do you know ONE FC? Like when I say that, do you even know what that is?
I've heard of it. Is it like
Okay.
the? I think there is it. Is it the predecessor? Not predecessor. Whatever the
Like Pride?
evolution of like the K1 and Pride
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's the biggest Asian promotion. If you see interviews with their owner, Shatri Sichadong, he says they are number one when you look at global numbers and blah blah. Yeah, that's because there's like 1 billion people in Asia, but they're not paying for anything. You know what I mean? So like it's a very weird concept. But ONE FC is on Amazon Prime. So shocker and spoiler alert to all your listeners, right? But nobody even knows that, right?
I didn't
Like,
know that.
yeah. So they run live events on Amazon Prime, right? And they thought when they signed this is it, baby. We freaking hit the big time. We're going to be on Amazon Prime. Everyone's going to know us. I train at a martial arts gym. I can't, I can count on one hand how many people watch ONE FC. And it's on Amazon Prime, which everybody has. Like that, I mean, you know what I mean? Like that's as ingrained as Netflix, I would think. Like everybody's got that. It's free with your Amazon
Yeah,
Prime. You know what I mean? Um, Nobody watches it, dude. It's I don't know. Bellator signing to that. Sure, maybe, but then it depends. Like, how much is Max gonna like promote it on their page and stuff like that? Like, are you gonna see it
hmm
like when you turn it on? Is that gonna come up right away for everybody? And then the problem is, even the most casual fan knows it's not UFC.
very true.
Even if you watch it, you're like, oh, I thought this was going to be UFC. It's not. Eh.
hmm
And like you've got to do something to hook people. Like if they don't have an incredible production value, if they don't have something that's really going to lure you in, it's tough, man. I don't know what they want to do. ONE FC has done it before, so has Bellator, but you need to do maybe Grand Prix, like which is what we call our tournaments in MMA, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Especially like one night tournaments. If you can do like one night tournaments, get people invested. Like even my wife, who like God bless her, she puts up with me and puts up with like the MMA stuff. She wasn't into it before. She'll watch a little bit here and there. But if there's a one night tournament, that seems to suck in casual fans because they can, because they'll introduce the combatants, they'll introduce them, they'll give a little story, and then you see them win. And then the one guy that goes on, now you're vested. You're like, oh, I know this guy. I just saw him fight. Like, so even the casual fan hasn't had to watch this guy over the last 12 months. You just saw him fight. And so you can kind of follow along. If you do things like that, maybe you can capture people. But just going on
hmm
a streaming site and thinking like, oh, everybody has this, they'll watch. I don't think they will, man. And then I don't even know how you judge like your popularity. What I will say is that when I post stuff on my YouTube, like when I post my videos, if I have a Bellator fighter or a ONE FC fighter or a UFC fighter, obviously I go hashtag Bellator, hashtag PFL, right?
hmm
You know how when you do that and the social media site or YouTube or whatever shows you like how many
Yeah.
people have used that hashtag?
Or the number of videos, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
associated.
yeah.
Yeah.
The number of videos that are so, dude, hashtag PFL, hashtag Bellator, like nothing. Like it's brutal how much lower it is, which shows you then how many people are even generating content about that. Like
hmm
it's a crazy, shockingly low number when compared to UFC. So